He thinks so much now, it doesn't make any sense, because with his current ability and current family background, it is impossible to surpass Mei Qing. Is it because he can't surpass her, he can never be with her? Of course not. Jacob could see that after so many years, Mei Qing still has feelings for him, and she also said when she was at the airport, even if she was riding a 28 bicycle to pick him up, she would not have any opinion. This is enough to see that Mei Qing doesn't care about material things. Thinking of this, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. But then, another problem came to his mind. He suddenly turned his head and looked at Charlie, and asked worriedly, "Charlie, do you think your mother can come back in this life?" Charlie couldn't help but asked him awkwardly, "Do you think I should say yes? Or not?" Jacob was startled slightly, and said in embarrassment, "Hey, in fact, I know that you have very big opinions on your mother just like me in your heart, right?" Charlie said hurriedly, "Dad, I haven't said this before." Jacob hurriedly said, "Let's talk, you don't have to hide with me. After all, Claire is not here, what can we say, can't you?" Charlie knew what Jacob was thinking. He must be looking for a comrade in arms now. Because he didn't want his mother-in-law to come back, but his wife was very eager to find her mother to return home as soon as possible. Therefore, a psychological confrontation formed between the father and daughter. The current situation is 1-to-1, and he acts as a neutral party, so now the old master urgently needs to win him over. After all, there are only 3 people left in a family. If 2 people want that woman not to come back, then his psychological appeal will take the lead. So, he looked at Charlie and further induced, "Charlie, your mother has scolded you every day for the past few years, and even asked Claire to divorce you repeatedly. I see it all. To be honest, many times, as an old master, I feel sad for you. As the saying goes, a son-in-law is half a son. When did your mother treat you as half a son? You are not as good as an outsider in her heart." Charlie looked at Jacob with a sincere face, and said seriously, "Dad, Mom will come back or not. It doesn't depend on whether we 2 want her back. Even if neither of us wants her back, she might be there tonight. Suddenly return home, maybe even when Aunt is cooking, she suddenly rush into the kitchen to fight with Aunt. The legs are on Mom's body. If we really want to come back, we can't stop her. Can we?" In fact, Charlie himself can decide everything about Elaine, but he can only say that to Jacob. As soon as Charlie said this, Jacob's face immediately became extremely frightened. He looked at Charlie and asked with a trembling voice, "You said this would not be so coincidental? Ask your aunt to eat at home tonight, if your mother suddenly came back at this time, and the house must be fried. According to your mother's character, she is going to kill people." Seeing that Jacob was so frightened and worried, Charlie hurriedly said, "Dad, I don't think Mom will be back tonight, so please feel free to invite Aunt to home for dinner." Jacob was said to be scared by him, and blurted out, "How can you be sure that your mother won't come back? Like you just said, the legs are on her body. What if she does come back?" Charlie, in his panic now, smiled calmly and said, "Don't worry, Dad, I promise you that Mom will not come back tonight. If she comes back tonight, I will turn her head off and kick her for you." Jacob hurriedly said, "Oh, I don't want her head. I want your aunt to be able to eat a meal in our house with peace of mind." After that, Jacob said again, "I thought of a good way, good son-in-law. You must help me." Charlie smiled and asked, "Dad, tell me, what is the good way? What do you want me to do?" Jacob hurriedly said, "After your aunt arrives in the afternoon, I will lock the door of the villa from the inside. In the meantime, if your mother comes back, you will go out and help me with it. You are strong, even if you carry her, you have to carry her away. If you can't carry her, you will knock her out. In any case, you must never let her come in and meet your aunt." Charlie had never thought that his old man would be such a devil before. But he can also understand the feelings of the old master. After all, his first girlfriend that he haven't seen for more than 20 years, and she is still so perfect now. If she were his own, she would not dare to make any mistakes in this matter. Moreover, Elaine's character is indeed a super time bomb. Once such a person initiates a fire, it is possible that the power of nuclear weapons will really burst out. So there's nothing wrong with him being so cautious. But he didn't know that Elaine was currently in the detention center, suffering from inhuman torture. If she didn't nod her head, she would never come out. Jacob and son-in-law drove home, and Claire had just returned. Upon seeing her, Charlie hurriedly asked, "My wife, have you gone to the police station?" "What did the police say? Is there any news about Mom?" Claire's face was a little pale and said, "The police told me that they have issued a notice of assistance in the whole city, and even communicated with the person in charge of the Blue Sky Rescue Team, but the current feedback is that no one has seen her. I couldn't find any clues about her whereabouts."